Welcome to Life Talk, a production of Maranatha Ministries, with Shoshannah Frank Rausch, a ministry director at Maranatha, and Jene Gardner, president of Phoenix Rising Counseling Services. These lifelong friends discuss the spiritual and emotional challenges that face us all. Using biblical characters and personalities, they help us see that we are not alone in any of our emotions, positive or negative, and show us how we can be more than conquerors. If you'd like to speak with either Shoshannah or Jene, you can reach them by email at lifetalk@mmchurch.com. And now be blessed by today's presentation of Life Talk.
Good evening. So Jene is out with COVID and strep throat. So last minute we asked if, I asked my dad if he could join me, like the old days, right, Dad?
Yeah, it's like the old days. I'm the ugly version of Jene, I guess. Huh? It's funny because I first started this show on Wednesday nights way back when we first, started online presence like this.
Yeah.
And we called it Maranatha Live back then. I don't know if you remember that.
Yep.
And I think you were the guest on my show a couple of times.
I was.
And then I think I had to have you take over for a couple of times because I was away or something.
Yep.
And I never got it back since. Everybody loved you, and you come up with the idea of bringing Jene on with you. And of course, Jene is just such a wonderful person, just top notch. Both of you are. You're just both top notch. And this show has taken off, and people love it and love your conversations, and love what you talk about. And yet another dear friend of ours and someone that I highly respect was Ashley.
Yeah, Ash was on with us
a couple of times. I've always loved Ashley since I've known her. She shares a birthday with you.
Yes. Yep.
And we've had some wonderful times with Ashley. She's another wonderful person. And it is important that we surround ourselves with good people.
Absolutely.
You've heard me say many times, both growing up and from the pulpit, I've said many times that you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with.
Yes.
So if you want to be a better person, you've got to find better people to run with. If you want to be a good person, you got to find good people to hang around with. And as far as parents go, that's true too, is see who your kids are hanging around with. Watch who they're running with, because they're going to be the average of those 5 kids. So it's important that we.
Yeah, and I feel like growing up, you always knew who you were hanging out with, because our house was like the house all of our friends wanted to hang out at.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to come to the Franks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't because you got away with things.
Oh, no.
It was just because we were friendly.
I think it was because you and Mom were like extremely involved.
Yeah.
Played games, very, very involved with all of us.
Yeah, we're involved with our kids, and that's a good way to be. And unfortunately, that's what I think a lot of people are missing. Not only this generation, but my generation also. With both parents having to work full-time jobs, and it's the children that miss out. And speaking of children, boy, what a phenomenal job you did on Mother's Day.
Oh, thanks.
You preached for us on Mother's Day. And you think you'd know by now. You're complaining you only got a 3 days notice, but you're getting a 365-day notice. I don't care when we finally tell you. You already know you're preaching next Mother's Day.
Well, I feel like, you told us our entire lives you need to be instant in season and out of season. So I kind of just cling to that whenever you throw something on me last minute.
Well, you were instant out of season, because what a tremendous job it was.
Well, thank you.
And a phenomenal sermon. And I thought, being that it's still Mother's Day week, and there's a lot going on right now in our country.
Yeah.
Very disturbing to me. I've seen some images on social media of some of the protests that are going on, some of the things that are taking place with the Supreme Court right now because of a decision that certain people don't like. It's a sad day that we live in. When people would become so animated and so militaristic over the right to, and I'm just going to say it as it is, over the right to kill their children.
Yeah.
It's a terrible shame. You read a scripture in your sermon on Sunday. Do you have that available by any chance?
Yeah, it was the Isaiah 49:15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says, "Can a woman forget her nursing child and not have the compassion on the son of her womb.
Now, just stop there for a second. Just stop there for a second. Let's just take a look at this. The question is being asked as though it's like it's like when you say, "Does the sun rise in the east?" It's like obvious. Are you sure that'll work out that way? Does the sun rise in the east? Well, this is that kind of statement that's being made here. Can a woman forget her nursing child? And you would think the obvious answer is, of course not. Well, if a mother can't forget her nursing child, God's saying, I can't forget you. But read this next statement, next sentence in that verse.
He says, surely they may forget.
They may forget.
Yet I will not forget you.
And unfortunately, Shoshannah, we're living in a day when society has forgotten.
Absolutely.
They've forgotten. Abortion is a scourge on America. I don't mean to be so harsh, so cruel. You know, as well as everybody that's part of Maranatha knows how open we are, how welcoming we are to every person, every race, every color, every background, every belief. You are welcome to come to Maranatha. Jesus can turn you into whatever he wants to turn you into. Our goal, my goal, your goal, our goal with people is to just let the Lord have his way.
Right.
It's not for me to tell you can't come to church here if you're like this. We just want the Lord to have his way with you. And we believe that God, thank God people didn't tell me I couldn't come to church with the way I was when I first started coming.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's got a past.
Yeah, we all have a past. And unfortunately, we all have a present too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
None of us have arrived just yet.
Yeah.
That said, we're talking about this what I consider to be a scourge on America and maybe the world. I don't know what the statistics are worldwide, but the scourge on America of this this abortion movement, of the right to just take the life of a baby simply because you don't want to have a baby. It's terrible. And there's a lot of discussion about how to change all that and how to fix all that. And if people lived for God, I might get in trouble saying some of these things, but if people truly lived for God, there wouldn't be so many unwanted children.
Absolutely.
That's part of the issue. Okay, we're doing sinful things. Sinful things produce the results of some sinful things are
consequences.
Our child, and then we don't want the consequences of our sin. I'm saying all that to say this: even though the world can get to the condition that it's in, this is what this is really all about, and this is what that scripture is trying to tell us. Can a mother forget her nursing child? The first reaction is no, of course not. And yet we look around society and see that we do, not only in abortion, but even, just babies that are neglected and children that are neglected. And, but the scripture says, yes, a mother can do that.
Right.
But even though a mother can do that,
I surely will not.
I don't mean to monopolize this conversation, but
no, you're fine. I'm used to it by now. I'm just kidding. You have good stuff to say, and we all need to hear it. So,
well, it hits home with me because of your mother. Okay, you know the broken home your mother came from, the abuse.
Absolutely.
Physical abuse she was raised with. Her mother abandoned her when she was what? I
think she was 3.
2 years old, 3 years old.
I think she went into the orphanage at 3. Yeah.
At 3 years old, came out of the orphanage several years later, walked into a kitchen where her mother was and didn't know who she was, and said to her father, "Who's this?" And the mother broke down crying because her daughter didn't know her. How could she know? How could she have known her? She hadn't seen her in years. But my point is this: mothers can forget.
Absolutely.
We are all subject to the broken condition of our flesh, and we have all done things. Every one of us have done things whether it's, maybe you didn't forget your child, but you've done something. We've all done things wrong. So I'm not trying to say a mother who forgets her child is any worse than, there's no sin that's better than another sin. We are all broken and fallen humanity. And so the question is, can a mother forget her nursing child? You know what the answer is, unfortunately? Yes. Yes, she can. But God says she may forget, but I will never forget you. And that's the point that we need to be driving home to people in our world that have been raised in broken homes. They've been raised in abuse. They've been raised in misuse. They've been raised in neglect. They've been taken advantage of. They have had nothing. They have had no breaks in life. Jesus Christ has not forgotten you.
Right.
And if you will but come to him and give him your life. There's an old song that we used to sing, and I love it. And maybe I think Jameson's doing music this Sunday.
Yes.
I think I might ask Jameson to sing the song. If I forget, remind me, would you? That
Yeah.
old song that says something beautiful, something good.
Oh, yeah. I think Jen did that like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Did she really? All my confusion, Jesus understood. Yep. All I had to offer him was brokenness and strife, but he made something beautiful out of my life. So yes, your mother may forget you. This world may forget you. Your jobs may forget you. Society may forget you. Neighbors may forget you. Relatives may forget you. Husbands may forget you. Wives may forget you. Jesus will never, ever forget you.
Yeah.
Ever. Come to Jesus. That's what it's all about.
And by doing that, and by having that option, and by knowing that he never forgets you, if you're in a position where the world is telling you and society is telling you that in this situation you have an abortion, in this situation you do this, when you come to Jesus and you realize that he will never forget you, all of a sudden you realize you have another option.
Yeah.
You don't need to listen to the world. You don't need to listen to society. You don't need to listen to the peer pressure and what everyone tells you that you should be doing in this circumstance. You realize that with God, all things are possible. It may look impossible right now. It may look like I don't know how I can move forward with whatever reason. There's a lot more reasons of being pregnant than just the fact that, someone was giving into their fleshly lust, or someone, there's a lot of other situations that may be out of their control,
Mm-hmm.
But when they come to a point when they realize that Jesus has never forgotten them, he's never going to leave them, he's never going to forsake them, at that point their eyes might be opened up to there's other options.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ways to deal with what you may be currently going through that may seem impossible.
Yeah, that's another song that comes to my mind, and that's the problem with getting to be the age that I am. You've heard so many songs and everything.
Dad, I'm not sure it's the age. I'm pretty sure ever since I was a young kid, if we said one word, you would break off into some song off of that one word. Like that's kind of like what you're known for, is breaking out in music, in a song for a statement that was said.
Yeah, well, your statement right there of, God can make a way, just brings that old song back to my mind. God will make a way where there seems to be no way.
Yeah.
He opens doors I cannot see. That's what's important. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean there's not a way. And that's where faith comes in. That's where trust comes in. I know that if I do the right thing, God will make a way for me, a way that I can't see right now, but it will unfold before me. And how many times has your life or anybody's life been blessed when they put their faith in Jesus Christ and allowed him to lead the way? How many times has their lives been blessed?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you had your life group yet this week. We had ours already.
No.
And the subject matter for this week's life group is just phenomenal. It has to do with the flesh and the spirit, and following the ways of the flesh, or trusting in God and following the way of the spirit. We had such a beautiful move of God at the end of our life group, when we're talking about letting the Lord lead and directing our steps and trusting him. And making the right decisions, even when it doesn't make sense. And we closed. This wasn't in the notes, but it just came up in our life group. Was Naaman the captain, and I preached about this years and years ago. And I'm thinking about re-preaching it, but Naaman.
I'm thinking about the little kid song, Naaman the Captain.
Yeah, Naaman the captain had leprosy. Yeah.
You're rubbing off on me, Dad.
But, see, like father, like daughter. But let me just wrap this up by saying real quick, the thing with Naaman was he didn't like the way the answer came. He didn't like that the prophet sent out a messenger instead of coming out and meeting him himself. He was an important person. You send a message, come out here and tell me yourself. Well, he didn't do that. The prophet sent out a messenger. And the message was to go to the Jordan and dip 7 times in the river. And he didn't like the Jordan because it was dirtier. There's cleaner waters elsewhere. And then he gets talked into it by a little servant girl to just do what the prophet said to do. And what's interesting about that story is he had to dip 7 times, not once, but 7 times. And when he dipped the first time and came up out of that water, there was no change.
Right.
Nothing was different. His leprosy was still there. There's no slow improvement. He wasn't seeing any improvement. Right. He had to, by faith, go down for number 2. And he came up after number 2, and his fingers still had leprosy on him, and there's nothing different. And the same thing for 3, 4, 5, and 6. And he comes up with 6, and still there's nothing. And what we want God to do is, if we take one step, we want God to take a step. And sometimes we've got to take several steps,
right? Yep,
before we suddenly see the miracle, just like that.
Yeah.
Because when he came up from number 6, there was nothing different at all. Still fully leper. Everything about him, nothing changed. But by faith, he went down for the 7th time. And on the 7th time, the complete answer came.
Yeah.
So the whole moral of the story is, can a mother forget her suckling child? Yes. Can this world fail you? Yes.
Absolutely.
Do people fail you? Yes.
Yep.
Does the church fail you? Yes. Does life fail you? Yes. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Live for Jesus, because Jesus will never fail you. And one day you will take that next step and your answer will be there waiting for you. Can a mother forget her nursing child? She can.
Maybe. Yep.
She can. But I will never, ever forget you. So put your faith in that, not in how things look or how things feel or how things seem. Serve the Lord.
Excellent.
You did good tonight, show.
I feel like I just kind of relaxed tonight. I didn't really. I just sent you the link so that you could log on, is really what I was here for. But everything you said needed to be said. It needed to be heard. And, so for that, I appreciate you coming on and monopolizing the talk. I appreciate that. It felt more like a monologue, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did kind of monopolize the conversation.
No, you did.
And I'm probably a poor substitute for Jene, but we hope Jene's feeling better soon. We love her, and I'm looking forward to getting her back.
Let's just say this: if she's still sick next week, she's going to be doing it from bed. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Tell her I said she's got to be instant in season and out of season. That's
I'm glad that you joined me last minute. I appreciate that. That's one thing about you that I've always counted on, is that you've always been there, no matter what. You're always just a yes away. I'm not kidding.
I think
I'm going to be 40 in August, and you're just always a yes. I mean, if I'm in a pinch, I know I can call my dad, and you're right there.
Yes, that is true. If you're in a pinch, I think I have said no to you a couple of times, not many times. It's hard for a father to say no to his daughter, but
never when I've been in a pinch have you ever said no. So I appreciate that. I love you, and thanks for joining me tonight.
Well, it's my honor, show, and I just want to put a shout out to you and Jene that you are doing a phenomenal job.
Well, thank you.
Jene is such a wonderful, wonderful girl, wonderful person, and the two of you together are just phenomenal. And I look forward to the show every time. And now that you got Ashley involved, you need to get Ashley involved just a little more than just.
Oh
once
yeah,
in a blue
yeah.
moon.
We've already been talking about it.
All right.
We're gonna have her on more often.
You have,
Yeah.
and I want to say this as we close tonight.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. And the reason I'm proud of you is because you have surrounded yourself with wonderful people. And
Thanks.
if I look at my daughter and say she is the average of the 5 people she hangs around with, I can be proud of that because you have surrounded yourself with wonderful people, and Jene and Ashley are just 2 of them.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All
All right. Yep. Thanks for joining me. Have a great night, everyone. God bless you all.
Come to church on Sunday if you're in Schenectady, or if you're in the Olean area, get to church. Or if you're in anywhere, look up the local UPC church and get yourself to church.
Absolutely. All right. God bless everyone.